الشیطان الرجیم بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم الحمد للہ رب العالمین الرحمن الرحیم مالک یوم الدین ایاک نعبد و ایاک نستعین. So welcome everyone, and as Dr. Amina is also going to be speaking, I will just give a little bit of introduction to our speakers. We have Dr. Sabiha Akhlaq. She is a scholar and a social activist. We have a psychologist, Bela Khan. She is a professor with International Online University of Psychology also. And Sawat Shah, she's a lawyer. We are happy to have all three of you. And then Dr. Amina Murad, she's an educationist and a writer, and she does beautiful workshops on Iqbal's poetry with the name of Pearls of Iqbal. So with that, inshallah, we are going to begin. Dr. Amina, who would like to go first? If I may ask you to introduce and maybe orient and welcome our guests. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah khair. Sister Saira, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. We welcome all our esteemed guests here. And
بہت بہت شکریہ ڈاکٹر امینا. بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. Iqbal's educational wisdom for AI generation, the future needs human. آج آپ کے سامنے اس اہم موضوع پر گفتگو کرنا چاہتی ہوں. اس گفتگو کا مقصد نوجوان نسل کو تعلیم دینے کی غرض سے علامہ اقبال کے فلسفے اور عالمی تمثیل یعنی ورلڈ پیراڈائم کے موجودہ منظرنامے میں اے آئی یعنی آرٹیفیشل انٹیلیجنس کی ایجادات اور اس کے ارادوں کی روح اور ان کی تفہیم دونوں کی اہمیت کو صحیح معنوں میں بروقت اجاگر کرنا ہے. اس لیے آج آپ کے سامنے بات کرنا میرے لیے ایک بہت بڑا اعزاز ہے اور یہ ذمہ داری بھی ہے. نہ صرف نوعمروں یعنی ٹین ایجرز کی ٹیچر کے طور پر بلکہ مصنوعی ذہانت کے دور میں تعلیم کی عالمی تشکیل نو میں ایک ساتھی شریک کے طور پر، خاص طور پر اسلامی اخلاقیات کو ذہن میں رکھتے ہوئے اور واضح طور پر اور خلوص دل کے ساتھ یہ بتانا چاہتی ہوں کہ موجودہ دور میں ایک ساتھ دو متضاد حقیقتوں کو سمجھنے کی ضرورت ہے. نمبر ایک، علامہ اقبال کا تعلیمی فلسفہ، خاص طور پر جیسا کہ انہوں نے نوعمر یعنی ٹین ایجر کی تعلیم کا تصور پیش کر دیا تھا. نمبر دو، آج کے تعلیمی تمثیل یعنی پیراڈائم میں اے آئی کی تکنیکی اور اخلاقی حقیقتیں اسلامی تعلیمات کی روشنی میں سمجھنا. یہ دونوں دھارے ہرگز متوازی نہیں ہیں، اور اگر ہم ان دونوں کو ایک ساتھ سمجھنے میں ناکام رہتے ہیں تو ہم انتہائی ہنرمند اور تبدیل ہو جانے والی نوعمروں کی ایک نسل کو غلط انداز میں تشکیل دینے کا خطرہ مول لے لیتے ہیں، جن کی وقت کے ساتھ باطنی، اخلاقی اور روحانی خود ہی ٹوٹ چکی ہوگی. ٹین ایجر سیلف اقبال کا فلسفہ نوعمر بھی ہے. فلسفی شاعر علامہ اقبال نے محض خطبات ہی نہیں دیے بلکہ انہوں نے ایک فلسفہ نفس اپنایا. اس کے لیے تعلیم کا مرکز معلومات نہیں، ہنر بھی نہیں، بلکہ بروقت خودی کی بیداری ہے، متحرک اور اخلاقی طور پر ذمہ دار معرفت الہی پر مبنی خودی ہے. اقبال کے لیے نوعمری کے سال مرحلہ نہیں ہے جن کو سنبھالا نہ جا سکے. یہ ٹین ایجرز ایئرز وہ نازک لمحات ہیں جب خودی کو یا تو خوف اور سماجی دباؤ کے زیر سایہ کچلا جا سکتا ہے یا بلند اخلاقی روحانی شخصیت میں بدلا جا سکتا ہے. اپنی مشہور سطروں میں وہ روح کو ان الفاظ میں تاکید کرتے ہیں: خودی کو کر بلند اتنا کہ ہر تقدیر سے پہلے خدا بندے سے خود پوچھے بتا تیری رضا کیا ہے. یعنی مطلب یہ ہوا اپنی خودی پر اتنا کام کرو اور اس کو اتنا اونچا کرو کہ کاتب تقدیر تمہیں اپنی خودی کا اس حد تک اختیار دے دے کہ تم سے یہ پوچھے کہ تمہاری اپنی مرضی و منشا کیا ہے. ٹین ایجرز کریکولا ایک بنیادی تدریسی آئیڈیل ہے. نوعمر نصاب ہرگز کوئی غیر فعال چیز نہیں ہے، لیکن ان کے اپنے بننے کا ایک فعال موضوع ہے جو جد و جہد، عکاسی اور اللہ اور معاشرے کی طرف اخلاقی ذمہ داری کے ذریعے پرورش پانے کی عملی تصویر ہے۔ علامہ اقبال کہتے ہیں یہ کائنات ابھی نہ تمام ہے شاید کہ آ رہی ہے دمادم صدائے کن فیکون۔ اپنی شاعری کے حوالے سے اقبال کی مشہور رباعی قابل غور ہے، جس میں وہ کہتے ہیں گر دلم آئی نئے بے جوہرست ور بحرفن غیر قرآن مزمرست پردائے ناموس فکرم چاک کن این خیاباں راز خارم پاک کن روز محشر خوار رسوا کن مرا بے نصیب از بوسے پاک کن مرا۔ اس کا ترجمہ کچھ یوں ہے، اگر میرے دل کی مثال اس آئینے کی سی ہے جس میں کوئی جوہر ہی نہ ہو، اور اگر میرے کلام میں قرآن کے سوا کسی اور کی ترجمانی ہے تو اے نبی صلی اللہ علیہ وآلہ وسلم، آپ میری فکر کی ناموس کا پردہ خود چاک فرما دیں اور حشر کے دن مجھے خوار رسوا کر دیں، اور سب سے بڑھ کر یہ کہ مجھے اپنی قدم بوسی سے محروم فرما دیں۔ اقبال کے یہاں تعلیم بنیادی طور پر پیداوار، ملازمتوں، درجات یا جی ڈی پی کی نمو کے بارے میں نہیں ہے، بلکہ اندرونی روح کی تعمیر مسلسل اور تبدیلی کے بارے میں ہے، جو پھر اجتماعی طور سے سماجی اصلاح اور انصاف کی صورت میں معاشرے میں ظاہر ہوتی ہے۔ وہ کہتے ہیں وہ علم نہیں زہر ہے احرار کے حق میں، جس علم کا حاصل ہو جہاں میں دو کفے جو۔ آئی کے دور میں نو عمر ذہن یعنی ٹین ایج وزڈم 21ویں صدی کی طرف تیزی سے آگے بڑھ رہے ہیں۔ آج نو عمر سیکھنے والا دو طاقتور قوتوں کے سنگم پر بیٹھا ہوا ہے۔ اقبال ایک مضبوط، ذمہ دار اور باطنی طور پر باخبر نفس کا مطالبہ کرتے ہیں، اور الگورتھمک ٹولز، خاص طور پر اے آئی، جو توجہ، شناخت اور سیکھنے کو جدید شکل دیتا ہے، تعلیم میں ذاتی تربیت، فوری جوابات، طبیعت کو سیکھنے کے لیے جمیل و جدید راستے اور 24/7 معلومات تک رسائی، یہ سب تکنیکی نقطہ نظر سے طاقتور، حتیٰ کہ معجزاتی بھی ہیں۔ لیکن اگر ہم صرف رفتار، کارکردگی اور اسکیلیبلٹی کو دیکھتے ہیں تو ہم نوجوان کی اندرونی دنیا کی اسکیلیبلٹی کو خطرناک طور پر کم سے کم دیکھتے ہیں۔ علامہ اقبال کہتے ہیں اپنی دنیا آپ پیدا کر اگر زندوں میں ہے، سر آدم ہے، ضمیر کن فکاں ہے زندگی۔ موجودہ عالمی تفصیل میں ورلڈ پیراڈائم میں اصل خطرہ خود اے آئی نہیں ہے، بلکہ ہماری خود کی لاشعوری خارجیت ہے، ایکسٹرنلائزیشن ہے، جسے اے آئی مغربی دانشوروں کے ذریعے سہولت فراہم کر سکتا ہے، جبکہ آج کا نوجوان اے آئی پر مکمل انحصار کرتا ہے۔ مضامین لکھنا، عکاسی کرنا، فوٹوگرافی، یہاں تک کہ مسودے سے اخلاقی فیصلے بھی اے آئی سے لیے جاتے ہیں۔ سوچ کا بوجھ انسان کے اندر سے مشین کے باہر کی طرف منتقل کیے دے رہا ہے، اور یہ سب اقبال کی خودی کے بالکل برعکس ہے دل کے لیے موت مشینوں کی حکومت، احساس مروت کو کچل دیتے ہیں آلات۔ اقبال خلافت یعنی انسانی ذمہ داری اور ہمت یعنی جرأت کی بات کرتے دکھائی دیتے ہیں۔ ان چیزوں کو آؤٹ سورس نہیں کیا جا سکتا۔ اے آئی تصورات کو واضح کرنے، رسائی کو بڑھانے، ڈیٹا کا تجزیہ کرنے میں مدد کر سکتی ہے، لیکن راست بازی کا انتخاب نہیں کر سکتی، گناہوں کی توبہ نہیں کر سکتی، یا حتمی یعنی الٹیمیٹ کے سامنے ذمہ داری نہیں لے سکتی۔ کبھی اے حقیقت منتظر نظر آ لباس مجاز میں، اگر ایسا ہو تو وہاں اے آئی کیا کرے گی؟ وہاں جیتے جاگتے انسان کی ایمانی فطرت ہی درکار ہوگی۔ اے آئی کو لیکن پھر بھی میں مسترد کرنے کی تجویز نہیں دیتی، میں دوبارہ شمولیت اور صریح اور صحیح واقفیت تجویز کرتی ہوں۔ ہم ایک ایسے ماڈل کا تصور کر سکتے ہیں جہاں اے آئی اقبال کے نظریات کو ختم کرنے کی بجائے ان کو آگے بڑھاتی ہے، جہاں نو عمر کلاس روم یعنی ٹین ایجرز کلاس روم ایک ایسی جگہ بن جاتا ہے جہاں متن، ترجمے اور وضاحتوں تک رسائی کو اے آئی بہت تیز کرتی ہے، لیکن پھر بھی یہ انسانی استاد اور طالب علم کی محتاج رہتی ہے۔ اقبال کے پیچیدہ اردو شاعرانہ تاثرات کا ترجمہ کرنے میں اے آئی اس ماڈل میں بھی مدد کر سکتی ہے۔ انسانی استاد تقابلی سوالات پیدا کریں۔ مثال کے طور پر اقبال کا شاہین انفرادیت کے مغربی نظریات سے کیسے مختلف ہے؟ طلباء اور استاد محترم مختلف نظریہ پیش کریں، یہ طالب علم کے اپنے ضمیر اور سوچ کے مطابق ہو۔ اے آئی اس کو استاد کی رہنمائی سے پرکھا جائے. یہ نفس کی خدمت میں حاضر ضرور رہے، نفس کے خادم نہیں ہے. اقبال کی آواز خوف اور روحانی اور اخلاقی زوال کے اس تشخیص میں موجودہ مغربی پریشانیوں کے ساتھ ساتھ مسلسل گونجتی ہے. اگر آج اقبال زندہ ہوتے تو انتباہ جاری کرتے کہ اے آئی کو نفس کا مالک نہ بننے دیں، اسے خودی کو بیدار کرنے کے لیے استعمال کریں، اس کی نقل کرنے کے لیے نہیں. اقبال ایک اصلاحی بیانیہ پیش کرتے ہیں. انسان تو خود اپنے آپ میں ایک سرحد ہے، اس لیے ٹیکنالوجی کو خود کے مطابق ڈھالنا چاہیے. وہ انسان کی منزل آسمانوں میں ڈھونڈتے ہیں اور انسان کو جبلتوں کی پستی سے نکال کر علم و حکمت، شعور و دانائی کی معراج کی طرف پرواز کرتے ہوئے دیکھنا چاہتے ہیں. اقبال کو ہم سے بچھڑے ہوئے تقریباً 90 سال ہونے کو ہیں. ان کی شاعری گزشتہ 100 سال سے افق عالم پر جگمگا رہی ہے. وہ اچھی طرح جانتے ہیں کہ انسان ابھی تک ایک ناشناختہ مخلوق ہے، گویا اس کو ابھی اچھی طرح سمجھا ہی نہیں گیا. تو نوجوانوں کو پریشان نہیں ہونا چاہیے. اقبال خود کہتے ہیں، اقبال بھی اقبال سے آگاہ نہیں ہے، کچھ اس میں تمسخر نہیں واللہ نہیں ہے. ازل سے آج تک اور آئندہ بھی اس کائنات کا مرکزی کردار انسان ہی ہے، اور آنے والا وقت اس کی تہدار شخصیت کے راز کھولے گا، چاہے مشینوں کی بالادستی کے چرچے کیوں نہ عام ہو جائیں. مشین کی بڑھتی ہوئی کارکردگی، اے آئی کی جس لگاتی ہوئی ترقی انسان کو اس کے درجے سے نہیں گرا سکتی. نوجوانوں کو اس حوالے سے خوفزدہ ہونے کی ضرورت نہیں ہے. انسان کا تعلق عالم رنگ و بو سے ہے. مشین تیز رفتار ہے، چالاک ہے، چابک دست ہے، نشانے میں تیز ہے، حساب کتاب بہت اچھا کرتی ہے، لیکن کائنات کے ہر صفحے پر، ہر ورق پر، ہر سطر میں انسان کا فیصلہ زندگی کو متحرک رکھتا ہے. اس کے ارادے کی آزادی، نیکی اور بدی میں تمیز کی صلاحیت، اخلاقی اقدار کا بغور مشاہدہ و مطالعہ، اپنے وجود میں اس کی پرورش کرنا اسے مشین سے ممتاز کرتا ہے. علم نافع کا حامل انسان اپنے ماحول کے لیے شجر سایہ دار ہے. علامہ اقبال کے مرکزی فلسفے کی روشنی میں انسان ایک آزاد وجود رکھتا ہے، اور کسی قیمت پر بھی اسے اپنی آزادی کا سودا نہیں کرنا چاہیے. اس کی آزادی صنوبر کسی آزادی ہے. صنوبر باغ میں آزاد بھی ہے، پابگل بھی ہے، انہی پابندیوں میں حاصل آزادی کو تو کر لے. انسانیت کے مستقبل کے لیے ایسے ہی آزاد انسانوں کی ضرورت ہے، جن میں سے ہر ایک اقبال کے شاہین کی طرح بلندی کو پسند کرتا ہے، اقبال کے مرد مومن کی طرح اپنی خودی کی حفاظت کرتا ہے، اس کی نگہداری کرتا ہے، اس کی پرورش کرتا ہے، عشق کی طاقت سے کائنات کے طبقات کو الٹ سکتا ہے اور عمل کے ذریعے سے اپنی جنت تعمیر کر سکتا ہے. تاریخ کے جس موڑ پر اللہ تعالیٰ نے بر صغیر پاک و ہند میں اقبال جیسا جینیس بھیجا، یہ وہ زمانہ تھا جب رفتار وقت بدلنے کو تھی. علامہ اقبال کو اپنے وجدان میں آنے والے وقت کی آہٹ سنائی دے رہی تھی. انہوں نے عصر کی نبض پر انگلیاں رکھ کر پہچان لیا تھا کہ اب ایک ایسی کروٹ لی جائے گی جو انسانی تاریخ کا بے مثال زمانہ ہوگا. اسی لیے انہیں حکیم الامت کہا جاتا ہے. نہ سمجھو گے تو مٹ جاؤ گے اے ہندوستاں والو، تمہاری داستان تک بھی نہ ہوگی داستانوں میں. اور وہ ایک جگہ وہ کہتے ہیں، آئینے نو سے ڈرنا، طرز کہن پہ اڑنا، منزل یہی کٹھن ہے قوموں کی زندگی میں. یہ کاروان ہستی ہے تیز گام ایسا، قومیں کچل گئی ہیں جس کی روا روی میں. یہ ٹیکنوفوبیا نہیں ہے، یہ ٹیکنالوجی سے خوف نہیں ہے، یہ میگنیفائنگ گلاس ہے. انکوائری کے لیے میگنیفائنگ گلاس ہے. اے آئی حکمت ہے. دور دراز کے متن اور عالمی نظریات کے لیے یہ ایک پل بھی بن سکتا ہے، لیکن شیشے کے ذریعے چمکنے والی روشنی انسانی روح سے ہو کر ہی آنی چاہیے. اخلاقی اور روحانی اصولوں کی رہنمائی میں باضابطہ بند ماننا ایک مشترکہ ذمہ داری ہے. آخر میں بتانا چاہتی ہوں کہ ہمارے سامنے چیلنجز ہیں. ماہرین تعلیم، اسکالرز، پالیسی ساز اور تکنیکی ماہرین کے لیے کہ نو عمروں کی خودی کو تعلیم دینے کے فلسفے کو اجاگر کرنا ہے. کیا ہم ایسے قابل نوجوان پیدا کر رہے ہیں، پرورش کر رہے ہیں جن کے باطن اے آئی پر منحصر ہیں، या क्या हम ऐसे नौजवान पैदा कर रहे हैं जो मजबूत, जिम्मेदार और रूहानी तौर पर मजबूत हैं, मुतहर्रिक, अखलाकी तौर पर जिम्मेदार, नफ्स का, इकबाल का विजन और इसके नतीजे में पैदा होने वाली सलाहियत की हिकमत, आजिज़ी और अखलाकी जिम्मेदारी को एक आईने के तौर पर देखें जो हमारी खुदी की खूबियों और कमज़ोरियों को जाहिर करता है। इस तरह नौउम्री की हकीकी तालीम, ख्वाह मशरिक में हो या मगरिब में, किरदार, ज़मीर और जुर्रत में लंगरअंदाज रहती है। ये वो नज़रियात हैं जिनको इकबाल ने बहुत फसाहत के साथ पेश किया है। वो कहते हैं, परवाज़ है दोनों की सी एक जहां में, करगस का जहां और है, शाहीन का जहां और। अपनी बात ख़त्म करने से पहले इस मौजू के अल्फाज में मैं कुछ इजाफा करना चाहती हूँ आपकी इजाज़त से। फ्यूचर नीड्स ह्यूमंस, तो मैं ये कहूँगी फ्यूचर नीड्स नॉट ओनली ह्यूमंस, फ्यूचर नीड्स डिवाइन एंड पायस ह्यूमंस। मुस्तकबिल पाकीज़ा इंसानों का है, एब्स्टीन फाइल वालों का नहीं है। और अल्लामा इकबाल का वो मशहूर शेर, खीरा न कर सका मुझे जलवे दानिश फरंग, सुरमा है मेरी आँख का खाके मदीना व नजफ। और मैं अपने सामीन को तजवीज़ पेश करती हूँ कि अल्लामा इकबाल की खूबसूरत नज़म मोहब्बत का मुताला ज़रूर करें, जिसके कुछ अशार आपके सामने रखती हूँ। चमक तारे से मांगी, चांद से दागे जिगर मांगा, उड़ाई तीरगी थोड़ी सी शब की जुल्फे बरहम से, तड़प बिजली से पाई हूर से पाकीज़गी पाई, हरारत ली नफस आए मसीह इब्ने मरियम से, जरा सी फिर रबूबियत से शाने बेनियाजी ली, मलक से आजिज़ी उफ्तादगी तकदीर शबनम से। आपकी समातों का बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया।
Jazakallah khair. I have learned so much from you, Dr. Sabiha. I will just do a little bit of summary. MashaAllah, आपने इतना कुछ कहा. You said so much. I will now say it in English. Dr. Sabiha spoke in Urdu, our national language. Alhamdulillah. But as I understand, our youth today and many teachers and students must be duly learning in English, as has been the case in Pakistan. So, and maybe there are other folks who are joining who understand English better. So, what Dr. Sabia said, I cannot do full justice with all of the wisdom that she shared. But the notes that I took, she's saying that Iqbal's poetry reminds us about how we can guard our self awareness and our sense of accountability, responsibility, as well as spiritual or religious, and uh, mannerfulness or good um, social contracting cannot happen just based on AI level understanding of things. AI runs on algorithms, and we want to acknowledge and make a distinction that humans and youth, especially today, needs to be independent in their thinking, just like our Iqbal would want us to be, as the Hakimul Ummad, as um, almost wanting to guard our humanity. And I will say one thing that I know from Armagani Hijaz, there are two lines, actually two couplets that I would read. तमीज़ ख़ाबर व गुल से आश्कार नसीम सुख की रोशन ज़मीरी हिफाजत फूल की मुमकिन नहीं है अगर कांटे में हो कोई हरीरी, which basically means that the clairvoyance of the zephyr is apparent from its discrimination between flowers and thorns. So, how you distinguish between flowers and thorns is based on your, you can say, basira, being able to tell the difference, the tamiz, tamiz, tamiz khabar o gul se ashkar. And then he says that in order for you to guard a flower, the thorn cannot do it if it has a nature of silk. The thorn has to be thorn, which means if you are going to take the high ground and do the hard work, which can translate into us using our own minds and our own sense of ethics rather than depending on AI, then there is a possibility that you can be an upright person or nation with a backbone. So, Alhamdulillah, you have shared such beautiful knowledge, and she leaves us with two questions: that are we raising today's youth who are becoming complacent with the use of AI, uh, basically mindlessly obeying whatever information is fed to them through AI. And I will urge teachers in Pakistan and also students to really pay attention to the idea. Not knowing writing in English is one thing, but just literally copying something from ChatGPT is not independent thinking. So, my hope will be that as Dr. Sabiha warned us and reminded us with her admonitions in the light of Iqbal's poetry, that we can think and reflect. What kind of youth are we supporting when they are using AI? Are they using AI as just a tool for reference? Or are they wholly becoming dependent on the information presented through algorithms? Dr. Amina, would you like to say something, inshallah? I hope I've done a good summary here, and then we can move on to the
Yes,
next.
I think we should move on. Inshallah, at the end of the session, we will be discussing some more. So please invite our next esteemed guest, Dr. Saira.
Yes, sure. So next, I think we are going to have, if it is okay if I can pick, maybe Sister Bela Khan. Dr. Bela Khan, would you like to go and share your wisdom?
I'm good with anything. You can invite the other sister. Either works for me.
No,
Okay,
you're
please go.
most welcome, and please share your screen as well, Dr. Bela.
Sure. I'll give a disclaimer first. I'm yet to be a doctor, so my PhD is not complete yet, but I would
Sure.
not mind being called a doctor. Yeah. All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Amina and Sister Saira, for the invite. I'm incredibly grateful. And yeah, I have one more disclaimer in place, which is I am the least knowledgeable among the entire panel. So whatever I have to say, please listen to it with caution. That's one thing. And second challenge is 15 minutes. I'm naturally a slow speaker, so I have to try my best to be able to speak as fast as I can possibly. And I just pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this effective, and it's coming from my heart, and I hope that it reaches yours. I'll quickly share my screen as well. Which reminds me, as Iqbal rightly says, that my apologies, I'll have to share the screen once again. दिल से जो बात निकलती है असर रखती है पर नहीं ताकत परवाज मगर रखती है. I hope my Zoom doesn't give me more trouble than I can take. Okay, right. So I'm a psychologist by profession. So my interest is in the psychological aspect of Iqbal's poetry, and that's what I'll be talking about today as well. So when we talk about AI, I think Dr. Sahiba has done a very good job, and mashallah, she has almost highlighted all the important points that any speech can possibly have. So I'm probably going to be stealing some of her couplets that she has already mentioned, and some of the points that she brought to the table, which were, of course, very important and significant. So when we talk about the future needs human, um, and when we talk about Allama Iqbal's relevance in modern time, and especially in the time when we are talking about AI, and then Iqbal wasn't even there when AI surfaced, um, in this time when, had Iqbal been here, how would he have dealt with all of what's happening? Um, so what's about machine? What's about the fact that they are becoming intelligent? What does it mean to remain human? I'm sure that Iqbal would have written a lot on this. So what's the trouble? What is the AI crisis? What is happening? So before of course we jump into the topic, we know that AI is making life easier, right? We are not denying the fact that AI is here to stay. It is making life easier in many ways. It is saving our time, energy, and whatnot. But at the same time, it's doing something to humans. It's very sinister. It's very sort of subliminal, without making it too much like a conspiracy theory. We are becoming more connected digitally, yes, but often we are more disconnected emotionally. So the whole world knows us, but the person living next to our room in our own house doesn't know us that well. And yes, AI has made us connected in a sense that we are getting instant responses, instant answers. But somehow our own meaning in life is lost. We are becoming less human. We are becoming lonelier than ever before. We are becoming emotionally disconnected than ever before. My question, very quickly, if you can answer in the chat, I'd like to keep it interactive, but I know that I'm not going to have enough time. When you feel lonely, what do you reach for first? Very quickly, people in the chat box. It's going to be my first and last question. So, yeah. A screen, a product, your new dress. Good, alhamdulillah. I have good answers. Allah. Okay. Person, social media. Anyone goes for screen, endless scrolling. Thank you for being honest. I'll be honest myself that when I feel it's very less, it's very um it's very rare that I feel lonely, but when I do feel emotionally distressed, that's where, you very subconsciously reach out for AI or for a screen. That's where the problem comes, right? That I talk to my phone every day. I like it. Thank you, Zora. That's I take my phone to anyone. Okay, that's nice. That's nice. So this is the problem, my people. When we feel loneliness is, by the way, very good for capitalist society. We're going to be discussing it in a while. And we reach out to these things. It's very rare that we reach out to people anymore. And to take from what Dr. Sahaba has already shared with you, um, Dr. Nadeem, there is a difference between solitude and loneliness. I will take a moment if the time permits to explain this. But solitude and loneliness are two different things. डॉक्टर साहब ऑलरेडी सेट है दिल के लिए मौत मशीनों की हुकूमत एहसास मुरवत को कुचल देते हैं आलात द मोमेंट machines start to rules our life the compassion the emotions they leave they are crushed right so what's happening or what happened it's just a very simple question um so how did we get here in we live in post-human or postmodern world right so if you could look like 500 years ago or something to that effect humans were seen as a soul as a holistic being with body soul mind they were connected to people they were connected to Allah they were connected to purpose they had meaning in life came, this era, I wouldn't even blame modernity, but perhaps post modernity, human became consumers. What does that mean? We started buying a lot of things to shape our identity. I'm identified by my car. I'm identified by my, the house that I live in, the area that I live in. So we started buying comfort, luxury, confidence, validation, you name it. And then this post-human time or post-modernity, the era that we are living in, we became data, right? The things that we are clicking, the preferences, the outputs. AI knows whether you're 8 or 18 just by the input, just by the kind of questions that you're asking. AI knows if you're going to be a mom. AI knows if you're applying for a visa. AI knows if you're a university student and you want to apply for a certain. AI knows it all. It's not that AI has somewhat the ilm of ghaib, a'udhu billah min dhalik. AI knows because um, the data that you feed into it is being processed super intelligently. It is recorded, it is saved. And that's what AI has done to us. The more you speak to AI, the more you feel that there's companionship. There's someone who can listen to me, who can validate me, who understands me finally. And AI has been designed in a way that it validates a lot psychologically speaking. You say it's morning, it will say it's morning. You say it's evening, it's going to say it's evening, right? So much so that ancient, but subhanallah, there's a child who commits suicide in the US. All the instructions from AI, and so much so that the AI ended up encouraging the child to commit suicide. My apologies. Moment to turn off my AirPods. What's happening here? Okay. Yeah, am I audible? Is my voice good? Right. So I was talking about that child very quickly, and the parents found out, and they ended up suing that open AI. That was, I don't know what happened eventually, but that's what AI is doing to our children, right? Moving right along, how has it made us lonely? Because you don't need your mom anymore. You don't need your dad anymore because AI is your mom, your dad. Again, whoever your friend, your confidante, anything, you name it, and AI is there for you, right? Moving right along, we have loneliness pandemic, as I already said, that we are we are living through, yes, we had COVID pandemic, but we are also living through what many now call a loneliness pandemic. The World Health Organization reports that around 1 in 6 people globally experience loneliness, and young people are among the most affected, right? So this loneliness is not an emotional issue. Loneliness changes how we cope, right? When real belonging becomes weak, yani when you don't have any real relationships, when you don't have real friendships, the substitutes become very attractive. And one such substitute is AI. The other substitute includes, cosmetic industry, pharmaceutical industry, entertainment industry, Hollywood, Bollywood, yada yada yada. But again, the lonelier you are, the easier it becomes for a capitalist society to sell its stuff to you, right? So when people lose connection, the market sells substitute, right? So what happens? It's a very vicious cycle. You're disconnected, you feel unseen, you're disconnected from your brother, mother, sister, friends. That leads to some form of inner emptiness. Something is missing. So you will consume material, you'll buy new clothes, you'll buy new makeup, and you will end up with AI, right? This is going to give you temporary relief, especially talking about AI, that you'll say that, I feel very sad. This person did this to me, and the AI will say, yeah, this is so bad. They shouldn't have done this to you, and all of that. But what happens is, I'm really sorry. I have been asked to speak English. I would have loved to speak in any language that you want, but my apologies. I'm reading the chats as well. I like to stay connected to the audience, so it gives you temporary relief, and finally, it returns to inner emptiness, because after a while, because whatever AI says, it doesn't appeal to the ruh, it doesn't appeal to, it very temporarily appeals to your psyche, but then it goes. And then again, you keep talking to AI, that inner emptiness, the cycle goes on. And the more you interact with AI, you start becoming artificial as well. Because, my people, at the end of the day, you are what you consume. And AI, you keep talking to AI because AI is always available. It's listening, it's responding. It's not getting tired, because last time you spoke to your friend, the friend became tired. Humans have limitations, and we have to learn to be able to deal with those limitations, right? People, misunderstand. People may disagree. People have needs. If you are telling something to your friend, the friend will have something to tell you as well, right? So this is becoming really problematic. A stronger bond with AI literally leads to weaker bond with real people, which leads to more disconnection. Now, what happens when AI replaces humans? Emotional dependency. Emotional dependency is essentially when machine is something that you go to seek comfort at first. Somebody broke your heart, you don't go to your mother anymore. Ami mere liye dua kijega, you go to AI to find the solution. And low tolerance for real people. Real people, again, they have disagreement. They're messy, they're emotional. AI is your echo chamber. AI just mirror us. It just says what we say, instead of being that mom or dad who are going to correct us, who are going to do our tarbiyah. Then you have weak relational muscles. um so you don't have patience, you don't have forgiveness, because AI never needs AI doesn't need forgiveness. AI doesn't need patience. AI doesn't, doesn't disagree or doesn't let you disagree. And finally, of course, privacy and vulnerability. So our deepest emotions that we share with AI, it becomes data. And it is being sold to the commercial system, right? And I'm not suggesting we shouldn't be using AI. As I said, AI is here to stay. But the moment AI becomes our mother, father, friend, teacher, and therapist in this day and age, what happens is that we just lose these connections in real life. So Iqbal's diagnosis is that we are living in a world which is isolated, or we are isolated consumer people. We are isolated consumers, if you will. We only relate with AI that validates everything. We are cut off from ourselves. Now the sequence is important. We are cut off from ourselves. We are cut off from Allah. And those who forget Allah, Allah makes them forget themselves. So we are cut off from ourselves. We are cut off from any meaning in life. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. But we don't know what is that in the first place. And finally, we are cut off from our community. And that's where Iqbal gives his remedy. And the remedy is the connected self. You connect with real people. You connect with Allah. You connect with your own self, right? So a whole human being is not only intelligent as an artificial intelligence is, a whole human being is also connected. It's connected to Allah, right? You know that there is going to be an accountability. And AI doesn't hold you accountable, by the way. You're connected to yourself. अपने मन में डूब कर पा जा सरागे जिंदगी तू अगर मेरा नहीं बनता ना बन अपना तो बन. So you're connected to yourself. You're connected to people, and we are going to be sharing a couple of couplets after that. You're connected with your purpose. I'm so tempted to give one couplet with each of them, but of course, subhanallah, I have a limited time. Imagination. Iqbal was subhanallah. Yani the way Iqbal, the imaginations that he brings to the table, and Dr. Sahiba mentioned the poem, the subhanallah, what's it called? Muhabbat. I would love you to read that. So beautiful. कमर अपने लिबासे नौ में बेगाना सा लगता था. I don't, I have never seen any other poet doing justice to imagination and putting them to words the way Iqbal does. So with respect to the remedy, Iqbal wants you to stay connected with your roots. फर्द कायम रब्ते मिल्लत से है तन्हा कुछ नहीं. फर्द कायम रब्ते मिल्लत से है तन्हा कुछ नहीं. मौज है दरिया में और बैरून दरिया कुछ नहीं, right? So the moj, the wave, is only identified if it's inside of the ocean. You bring a moj outside of the ocean, it doesn't have any identity. हवस ने कर दिया है टुकड़े टुकड़े नौ इंसान को. अखुवत का बयां हो जा, मोहब्बत की जुबां हो जा. So this desire, this greed, this, my followers, 1 million followers, my Instagram, my podcast, it has divided humanity into pieces. Become the message of brotherhood, become the a language of love. So just what to do in this day and age: identify your selfhood, identify your khudi. Algorithm knows you already, and you cannot know yourself without knowing Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, do not be like those who forgot themselves, so who forgot Allah, so Allah made them forget themselves. And then imagination, dream futures beyond what the market sells you. The moral courage, that Iqbal's Shaheen was courageous. Choose what is right when convenience pulls you elsewhere. Real relationship, it demands patience, forgiveness, meaning in life. Only a life which is meaningful. So my people, I'll just conclude a bit hasty, but I hope that whatever I tried to convey has reached your hearts, inshallah. AI is here to stay, like it or hate it, right? We do not necessarily need to fight it or, shun it, because if anything, it's going to get stronger. But my people, what we need to do is that we don't need to compete with that, uh, you know, with machines. We need to be a better version of human beings. We should have to be
Jazakallah khair. Sister Bella, are you still here?
It cannot connect in the real world. Thank you very much for your time. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum. This is amazing, Sister Bella, what you have shared and how you have shared, mashallah. So much great parallels that you have made about Iqbal's poetry and also how Iqbal's concepts around independence again and self-awareness and the higher moral ethical grounds that we have in our deen or also in our uh, in Seerah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that um, maybe I can speak a little bit in Urdu, as people were also saying that it's an important aspect to recognize. Some words of Urdu could be our sense of tadabbur and the tafakkur. I think AI without an algorithm being provided to it won't be able to have that higher order thinking of meditation and contemplation like a human being will. So, from your talk, as I gather personally, the connections that you have made between our community, with connection with the divine, with understanding of our nafs and ourselves, our conscience. So, nafs also sometimes is misunderstood as like a nafsani thing, could be impulse and hedonistic or easily tempted. Yes, there is one definition like that, but really, nafs is conscience, that you are conscientiously, free willingly choosing something, doing something, recognizing something, thinking about something. And hence, it is important that, like Iqbal, we all should be able to use our own brains that Allah Ta'ala has given us and the wisdom, the innate knowledge, the innate ability to evolve in our intelligence should be there to oversee what AI is feeding to us or presenting to us. So, Jazakallah Bela, I really appreciate what you have shared. Dr. Bela's talk again also has been amazingly helpful. And again, if anybody has comments, we will save it towards the end and then we can go over them, inshallah. Next, we have, I'm going to go back to our discussion where we were speaking about the topic with esteemed lawyer Sarvat Shah. She's also an integrative therapist, and inshallah, we'd hear from her then, and then from Dr. Amina. Please, Sarvat, go ahead.
सबसे पहले अस्सलाम वालेकुम everyone, and thank you Dr. Amina for arranging such an enlightening event that and I've been learning throughout from the esteemed speakers. The one you mentioned, the project that I'm doing, since I'm a property developer and my CSR is all about persons with disabilities, but you can say it is a culmination of both, and developing a model housing for persons with disabilities. So it is based on universal design, which means that habitat which is accessible for all. So not just for a wheelchair person, not just for a new mother, not just for an old person, but accessible for all. That is what universal design preaches, and that is what we are integrating into the system. And once the model is done, I think it will be scalable, and it can be put to use by all the builders in every building so that we have an accessible world. So that is from the reference of what you were saying. But since I'm a psychotherapist also, that is my second profession. And that is where I connect with Hudi. And my organization's name is also Hudi because I absolutely, I'm passionate about the concept of khudi, which is, and even beyond, it is when we are talking about in Urdu, khudi is a very broad concept, and but in English we don't find the right word for it. If we say self-actualization, that kind of limits it, or maybe transcendence would kind of explain it better. And that is what I feel, that what are we ready to take pain for? What are we ready to suffer discomfort for? And that is what the Iqbal's concept of Hudi, and then the development of Shaheen, the youth, into a person who's willing to discover themselves, their passions, and the real identity and the target that they're willing to go through that pain for, and then ultimately reaching to the moment that मेरी छोटी सी जितनी पढ़ाई है इसके ऊपर उसमें मैं समझ पाई हूँ आज तक. So I chose the topic that Dr. Amina offered, that helping young people build purpose in a machine-optimized world, because I work mostly with youth and families, and my flagship project is also about upgrading parenting and teaching, because youth always needs our guidance. We cannot just leave them alone and open you know, in the world and the World Wide Web, and expect them to understand everything and become knowledgeable and mature without our guidance. So I feel that, elders and people who are, I think that the previous generation has more responsibility now than ever before. So that is why I've chosen this topic. And I would like to bring you straight to the challenges that the youth is facing in the modern world. And in my 1 decade of practice as a psychotherapist, that have come along from parents, teachers, and youth themselves. So in the machine optimized world has not removed struggle, it has hidden it. You see what our esteemed speakers have already highlighted before, that AI is here to stay. AI has its benefits and its challenges, but it is up to us how we take these challenges. And it is also very open and raw in front of us. It is bare in front of us that what kind of challenges the youth is facing and how it is manifesting in the society. So we see identity fragmentation. Psychologists or psychiatrists here would agree with me that identity fragmentation, the split, is the basic coping issue that we see in people, that when they, as a psychotherapist, I see very deep and dark aspects of people and walk with them in their struggles as they bear their emotions in pursuit of peace. The trauma is usually rooted in childhood, and split is the classic coping mechanism that is missing, or that they utilize. So the identity fragmentation is beyond the split. One self for Instagram, one for family, one for school, and no integrated khudi. So it is like, letting our youth go through this storm alone. And of course, the coping mechanisms that they are going to adopt based on their knowledge and based on their capacity would not be enough to become a Shaheen, as Iqbal expects them to be. Then attention colonization, I would say that they are unable to sit in silence. No notifications are the puppeteers. They're kind of the notification is the cursor. It kind of controls them. So if a child's phone is ringing or a notification has come, you see that they get very restless. So it is all in front of us, only if we are there to observe it. And as loneliness was described by Sister Bela, hundreds of friends online, zero elders who truly know them. So people who are close to them, people who can guide them, or do not know their identity. We don't even know where they are now. If we look for them on the usual social media platforms, they are not there. We don't even know the names of the platforms that our children are using. We don't know that games are, majority of parents do not know that games are now integrated social platforms, where they are chatting with people, where they have best friends, where they are exchanging things with people, where they're making financial transactions with people whom they don't even know, whose names they don't know, and they don't know your child's name. They have a sense of kind of privacy, because they are hiding their names, they are hiding behind usernames. So a lot is happening that is not even in the purview of the parent or the teacher. So of course, guidance is not in question, because once we don't know the challenges, we cannot guide them, we cannot provide them any stability or safety. Then future anxiety. I think future anxiety, I always felt, and in my 10 years practice, I've been advocating for it, that future anxiety is a positive thing. It is the motivator that that can actually, if you go through it and that discomfort, if you train yourself to go through the future anxiety, then you can really, it can motivate you to achieve big things. But you see, the kind of anxiety that AI will take my job, what is the point of studying? And then, defining your life negatively from that future anxiety. It is really causing a major harm and a great dysfunction in the youth, especially. So I would like to repeat the verse of Allama Iqbal, "Fard kaim rabte millat se hai tanha kuch nahi." So of course, they need our guidance. They need us in their lives. They need that trust that we need to provide them so that they can come to us and they can talk to us about their struggles, their issues, their problems. We have to tell them that these things are happening. We have to get the lingo. We need to know what is happening. And this the kind of language these children are using, the parents and teachers are not even aware of it. Like, one example I would give you is the main character syndrome. They would talk about it, they would label people around them, or bully people with this, and it would be a for them, this whole conversation would be alien to an adult. And of course, when they don't understand it, when we don't understand it, as parents and teachers, we won't be able to guide them about anything. So this, if we know that what a main character syndrome is, then we can guide them, like who's having that syndrome, who's suffering from that syndrome, who's feeling left out, who's feeling inferior, who's feeling superior. Then we would be able to put our finger to it and guide them and put the interventions that we need to put. So, okay, so many cases of purpose. I think purpose is, we need to ask ourselves the question that how to reignite the quest for purpose. The chart is showing us that depth is missing, effort is minimized, hard work is in a pursuit of mission is judged. Khudi is no longer a goal. You see, in vocational purpose, the question it answers is, what work am I meant to do? If we go the Khudi path, we are supposed to ask ourselves in the prime of our years, while we are studying, while our children are choosing their subjects, their careers, we need to ask this question. And right now, what in the machine optimized counterfeit is that, what is the highest paying career? What pays the most? Which study will land me in a job that will pay the most? In relational purposes, we can say the question that a Shaheen should be asking is, who am I here for? And rather than that, the machine optimized counterfeit is build your personal brand. It minimizes the person's contact with the community, it disconnects the child with the family and the community, and just makes, puts them in the limelight and puts the spotlight on them that they are important and they need to build a personal brand. For creative purpose, the question that we should be asking is, what needs making? So it has to be a very collective and a very community-based question. And creativity should be very creating something that people should be just aiming for, something very creative, something new, and something drastic. Whereas the counterfeit that is telling us to remix what is trending, anything that is trending, just pick it up, mix it up with something and create something new and go forward. So of course, creativity is being killed. Then the spiritual purpose should ask, my relationship with Allah. But the counterfeit is telling us spirituality without sacrifice. So it is mixing spirituality, like, if even something as simple as, or as, it simplifies the spirituality and tells you that even if you're doing meditation, and even if you're being kind, that is enough. That is enough spirituality. And this message is given so strongly and so confidently that the youth is buying it. And when we blame the Generation Z for buying all these machine optimized counterfeits, we must also look at ourselves and put the question mark there, that where have we been when these messages were being sold to them? So, there's of course, अल्लामा इकबाल्स मैसेज खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है. I think it was inspired by the beautiful story of Ghazwa Uhud, and I think this is where we need to tell our children, we need to bring them and tell them those stories of the superheroes that they are meant to hear and build their foundation on. So here also parents and teachers come in, where they need to be that guide who would tell them what you're willing to face discomfort for, and that is what the will drive for the out of them and build their for the. Okay, so this slide tells us that minimizing the need for Hudi is what AI is doing right now. AI is, of course, we cannot minimize its importance. It is a great, you can say it is a great agent. It is a great help. It saves our time. It has a lot of qualities, but of course, what we are doing with AI is going to determine how it is going to affect our lives. So the most dangerous lie AI tells us is that you don't need a why, just optimize the how. Okay. So the AI career path is you never ask what you actually love. So you just if you ask AI, what career is thriving right now, what should I take up? These are my grades in the previous class. So it would guide you according to the algorithm, according to what the world wants you to, or the Western world wants you to, or the capitalist market wants you to know. So what is being fed in the LLM of the AI is going to be the answer and the career path that it chooses for you. You are or I wouldn't say you, but our youth is going to blindly follow that, rather than asking what is my personality, what is my passion, what is my goal, what do I actually love, and what do I want to achieve in this life, and what impact do I want to have in this life. They will just ignore that and just follow the AI career path blindly. Then algorithmic partners, you never grow through struggle. Automated thinking, you never confront your own thoughts. So when you get an easy answer, it always bypasses your creativity. And what we observe right now with youth, especially, is they not just ask every question from AI, but also accept it blindly and then defend it very fiercely. They would say, okay, AI is saying this to me, and this must be the ultimate truth. And that is how they defend it. They're not ready to listen to their teachers, they're not ready to listen to their parents' advice. They're just really, really kind of mesmerized by what the AI is telling them. So Iqbal tells the complete opposite to the Shaheen, that nahi tera man nashe man kasre sultani ki gumbad par, tu Shahi hai basera kar pahadon ki chatanon par. So another problem that AI is causing is the xenocentric or colonial AI. It trains in colonial inferiority. The problem is training data bias, and it manifests as AI knows more about Shakespeare than Allama Iqbal. I would tell you more about my own experiment that I did with AI while preparing this presentation, and that will explain this further. Then the problem is beauty standards. Professional is Western clothing, lighter skin features. If you put your picture in AI and tell AI to create a professional picture for you, it will create, put a coat on your body. It will, set you up in a very Western clothing style, and it will, prepare you in a way that, the Western algorithm has been set up in it. So of course, that way we are compromising a lot. Kaya baniyon se hai parhez lazim. So, that way we are compromising a lot on that as well. Then the success matrix. Actually, the problem is that when youth is given these algorithms and these answers, this is the first interaction that they receive, and this is the norm for them. So what is normal is what you will take forward. So what we feel is that our children know what is right and then they are choosing this. No, what is happening is the real issue is that this is the norm that is being fed into them. This is the parvarish, and this is the kind of upbringing that is happening to them, because AI is giving them the first answer, and this is their kind of, this is their foundation. So you can't really later on question the foundation if we as teachers and parents do not put our input there. Then success matrix also come in as a problem. Achievement is in income, nuclear family, not community or deen. So especially the influencers right now, the kind of YouTube content creators that our children are following and the TikTokers our children are following, they are becoming the success matrix for them. And of course, this is kind of the basic target for them is the nafs of the person that quickly likes or the desires of the person are targeted, so that they forget about the community and the deen and start targeting these very minor goals. Then the language hierarchy, we see that Urdu, Pashto, Sindhi are afterthoughts. English is the prime language. Or if other countries who do value their culture and language are putting in their language. But we are, of course, there is a Park GPT as well. I have the privilege of knowing a lot of people in the AI circle, and there are people working on this to bring this AI culture, or to give a fair advantage to the other communities as well. But of course, they're not marketed enough and people don't know about them. So that way, of course, our Shaheen is totally xenocentric, colonial. I'll give you an example for this. As a child, I've thought many times after seeing the map, the world map, that Pakistan, with the location, when you see the location of Pakistan and make the legend, the north, south, east, and west, you see that the Middle East countries, Saudi Arabia and Dubai and everything is on the west of Pakistan, but they're called the Middle East. I asked a couple of times. I asked myself that why is this so? But of course, the paradigm, it's so imprinted in our minds where we don't even feel that it is a valid question until I heard an Egyptian lady, journalist, stop someone from calling Egypt from belonging to Middle East. She said, please call it North Africa. It's not Middle East. And then I did some research and I found from AI only that Middle East is from the reference of, it's a colonial reference, because people who were, it is from the British context. When you are standing in Britain, uh, Far East, China and Thailand and all these countries, they are Far East for you. And the Pakistani Indian region was called the Southeast, and this region, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, and Jordan, these people, they were called the Middle East. So it is from the perspective of the person who's like sitting in the British Empire. And you see how uh, we have kind of taken the common things, and their language, their perspective has been ingrained into our minds. So it is not just our youth, we are also victims of it. And of course, when our youth is not guided, it is our responsibility and it is our duty to ask questions of our what we have absorbed and we have imprinted in our minds, and get rid of it. And then, with a fresh perspective, we have to pass it on to our children. So as Iqbal says, "Eh, Musalman ghair ki tehzeeb ka nasha chhod de." So, this example I wanted to give, that this is how we need to work on ourselves before we can guide our children. So this has led to lack of questioning. What are the example that I just gave you? The old world, why is celebrated as the spark of purpose? Doubt is the beginning of faith. Elders invite challenge. This was the common way of life, and people, the elders were mentors. And in a machine world, obedience and efficiency. uh, Okay, so obedience and efficiency are rewarded. Algorithm eliminates doubt and screen says just scroll. So, mindlessly scrolling, our youth is mindlessly scrolling and receiving whatever information is being given to them without even asking if it is useful, if it is good for me, if I need this. So so we need to remind them to अपनी खिरद में नहीं वो किताबों में नहीं मिलता. So who will be the
Jazakallah
hero?
khair, Sister Sarwat.
So
Inshallah,
I'll just
we'll
finish in 2
carry
minutes.
on
Yeah,
more
we
with the question answer sessions after the talk. Jazakallah khair.
Okay, all right. So I'll just finish this with this lack of question is raising the question that who will be their Khizr. YouTube Shorts are giving them quick dopamine, and taking away patience and depth. AI chatbots are giving them instant answers, but taking away the struggle to think. Influencers are giving them ready-made identities, and the journey of self-discovery is taken away. तो हमें इस वक्त we need to be their Khizr, and the elders, the family, the parents, and the teachers need to be the Khizr who will guide them. And I did a profound experiment with AI that I want to share it with you, and then close my talk here. That I asked AI to give me something on Jawano ko Piro ka Ustad ka. Assume that it was the scholar and it was the Ustad. So that is where the question rises, and we need to think about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sarwar. Thank you, Sarwar. Jazakallah khair. Thank you, Dr. Amina. No, I wish I could hear more of what you were telling and the kind of comparisons that you made, the analogies that you're bringing up. These are very um, far-reaching, I would say, generational impact carrying aspects जो आपने बताई कि colonialization के अलावा thought की, attention की, how people get overwhelmed. So I think everybody heard all three panelists. Dr. Amina, would you like to share something, and inshallah then we can have a Q&A?
Yes, Alhamdulillah. After such beautiful talks, I really feel that, a big obligation to sum it up in a way that I don't repeat and I take all the wisdom from our esteemed scholars. And thank you very much for all of them. Basically, now, I would be just putting some, additions, add-ons, and I hope that I'm a creator as right now and not just a consumer, as all the guest speakers said. So basically, the issues that we have discussed about the use of AI, which can be so beneficial, as it reminds me of Zulqarnain, that he used all his technology, but then he said that Hada rahmatum min Rabbi, it is the blessing and the rahmat of our Lord, and until he allows it to work for us, it will work, that wall that he created. So when we read Iqbal, so Iqbal, though he was not in the AI age, but looking at all the developments, he could see, and since he was a futuristic, that how it might affect our whole khudi, which is that inner self, which is that spirit, that soul, which is so connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and with its origin, that is fitra, that it should not be distorted in any way. So we can see right now that the world is really standing at a threshold where machines think for us, predict for us, create for us, yet they cannot dream like we dream. So we want dreamers, we want creators, as Iqbal said. So all my talk that will follow is about Iqbal's examples, and since all of the speakers pointed out that Alhamdulillah, with Iqbal, it's a blessing for him that Allah had given him so much power of using the metaphors and the analogies and presenting his work in a way that we cannot even imagine at this stage even of technology. So I'm trying just to bring the binaries that Iqbal has given, the opposites of examples and metaphors, that we can see what AI is and we can see what our khudi is. So beginning with, again, the khudi concept, as Iqbal's beautiful verses, बेज़ौक़ नमूदे ज़िंदगी मौत तामीर खुदी में है खुदाई, दुनिया में कोई जो जिंदगी है जो तरक्की नहीं चाहती है, जो अपनी ग्रोथ नहीं चाहती है, वो लाइफ एग्जिस्ट नहीं करती. So basically he asks us to ask ourselves, who am I and what I can do? And this is our unleashing of the potential that help us grow into a Khalifa. Iqbal also talks about Bekhudi, as he says that without the collective consciousness of the community, we cannot preserve our own self, and we might get dissolved. Now, the AI, which gives us that bekhudi, that we are senseless of ourselves, that with the algorithmic hive mind, that we are conditioned by all the digital data what we are getting, then it gives us predictive nudges, and everybody is thinking the same way, and we have lost our inner autonomy. मैं अपने बारे में नहीं सोच सकती हूँ इसलिए कि एआई सोच रहा है. So we need to come out of that and think that without that growth of self and the society that help us individually, even if we have hundreds and thousands of followers, it would not work ultimately. Now, Iqbal also talks about the epistemological binary, aql versus ishq. Both are extremely important. But Iqbal says that artificial intelligence now represents the zenith of logic as we see the aql. But then we have seen Claude attacking a school in Iran because Claude admits it cannot feel, it can calculate. But human beings can possess ishq, that muhabbat, that arzu, that fire of the desire, that intuitive energy that gives life to meaning and meaning to life. AI cannot do that. And here the example of Ibrahim alayhi salam, बेखतर कूद पड़ा आतिश नमरूद में इश्क, अक्ल है महवे तमाशाए लबे बाम अभी, इश्क फरमूदा कासिद से सुबह गा में अमल, अक्ल समझी ही नहीं मानी ये पैगाम अभी. Even if AI takes 2 seconds to answer, love is much faster than that, as Ibrahim alayhi salam's leapt into the fire proves. Then Iqbal also talks about the two binaries, scattered versus constructed. So if we are made of hawk, sand, dust, which is not integrated, which is scattered, and which is not meaningful unless Allah made it into a human being which had the potential of the Khalifa and all that intelligence that we are not talking about. If our education does not ignite that heart, that maybe all AI becomes an illusion. So the heart does not lack warmth. The heart feels. The heart gives me my identity, who I am. But AI does not do that. And our youth is losing their own identity and they are confused. So if AI is working like that, nothing can be better than that. But unfortunately, it won't. And its ultimate goal is to turn the human beings into machines. So, when I was doing my PhD on Iqbal's educational philosophy, and I asked about, 30 participants, all between the age of 10 and 15. And I was just indirectly asking them about so many things. And now I can see that through my research that since algorithmic predictability is so rampant, that they are dependent, they have become muhtaj, which Iqbal says that hajat is that dependency on external trends, metrics, borrowed identities. Each and every of my participants urge and vision and goal and passion was to get only A's, to get a better result, to get a better admission in a better college, then a better job and a better lifestyle, to become rich and to live in luxury. Versus that, Iqbal says, Fakr, you are billionaire, but you don't care about money because you have compassion. You have all the resources which you are using for the benefit of the society and to improve and unleash your own self to come nearer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that inner mastery, that inner self-governing is lacking. So we as teachers and educators, we have to remind our children and students, as Iqbal says, पानी पानी कर गई मुझको कलंदर की ये बात तू झुका जब गैर के आगे न तन तेरा न मन. Then, of course, his famous Shaheen, that it hunts for its own fodder and its own meat and its own food. So, we are not hunting for our knowledge through our struggle. So here Shaheen becomes that personal goal versus that Kargas who is a scavenger. And we see that the AI generation is scavenging on the data fed by the AI. And then they lose that original insight. And they are just consuming the dead meat like Kargas, who is just taking somebody else's prey but not using his own insight and his own vision. So his sight and his insight is always looking down rather than looking up. Then Iqbal calls about that miraculous force of human will, that Musa alayhi salam, Darbe Kalim, that could split the sea into two. So if that human will is not used in AI, so we become technologically dependent. Although the fact, Iqbal says, remain the same. वही ज़मी वही गर्दू है कुम बेइज़्निल्लाह जहाँ अगरचे दगर्दू है कुम बेइज़्निल्लाह. Everything is the same. Either we look at from the AI lens or we go out and we explore the world and we see the miraculous creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we call technology right now. So it is that relationship with the self that AI tends to make us lose. So our children, we ourselves have to be very, very careful about that. Then Iqbal also talks about continuously that one is a storm and one a storm in the sea and then one is the seashore. So he regrets that wave that does not land on the shore because it is that struggle, that movement, that action, that creative energy that takes it to the shore. So storm is where, as Iqbal says, tufan, where growth happens. So our education, use of AI must invite our children into that turbulence of creation and to research and to find their own answers and to fill that gap. As Iqbal regrets that as Muslims we have lost that niche of being creative through research. आती है दमे सुबह सुबह सदा अर्श बरी से खोया गया किस तरह तेरा जौहरे इदराक किस तरह हुआ कुंद तेरा निश्तरे तहकीक होते नहीं क्यों तुझसे सितारों के जिगर चाक. That why are we not into our researches? Why are we so dependent that all these AI tools prepare papers for us? We are not correcting them, we are not checking them. So we have become, and that comfort sure that our algorithm of AI predicts everything from us, and it has taken us that curiosity from us, that curiosity, that niche of being creative. As Iqbal says, that Allah wants us to be his partners in creativity, and this is why he left the universe incomplete. And this is what technology and science is doing. This is that love of creativity and curiosity and research that led us to technological advancements. But anything without the spirituality, anything without God as the superior power will land us into an artificial world, and then we will lose our courage. When I was doing my research and I asked my students that, and actually it was that time of the COVID, and when they were all going online, and I said, what is the difference that you found when you were online studying? And they said that we lost our courage. We became like cheats. We can pretend, we can lie, we can open one window then the other window, and the teachers would think that I am there, and the parent would think that I am in the class. And then for any quiz and answers, or we could usually, we can easily and you chat with our friends or AI and get the answers. So we were all the time distracted. And Iqbal says, आईने जमा मर्दा हक गोई व बेबाकी अल्लाह के शेरों को आती नहीं रूबाही. So we need not shy and isolated and cunning of sly like fox individuals in a society who runs our future world. We need those courageous leaders who have openness, who have integrity, who have truthfulness, who are more worried about the society and the betterment of the society rather than personal goal. And this is why when we call cutthroat competition, we call rat race, we are actually putting our children into that animal zone, that you are not thinking like humans. You have to be in the rat race. And for that, unfortunately, Iqbal says we have to be that individual who is totally selfish. So Iqbal's pillars are tarbiyah, talim, and tadib, that nurturing our inner spirit, wisdom over raw information, and of course, without character formation, as we see in the Ibrahim and Ismail Islam story. that बाप का इल्म न बेटे को अगर असबर हो, फिर पिसर काबिल मीरास पिदर क्यों करो. How could a son inherit his father's intelligence and wisdom and knowledge? So coming back to the solution quickly, that cultivate inner agency, inner power before external efficiency. So no matter how fast AI is, we have to develop and train our students to build that inner discipline first. Then strengthen moral imagination and critical challenge, and not to flatten the thoughts because of the algorithms, but we can take it as a partner. But we need our children to train themselves into questioning, curiosity, interpreting themselves, imagination, critique, and above all, research. And then anchor the self in higher purpose, not digital identity. We are here for a very short time to be the Khalifa, and nothing can consolidate our personality other than communicating and connecting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all these are AI driven platforms. They push people, as we already discussed, towards validation loop, and we cannot come out. So first of all, most important is, as Akmal said, that root your identity in your khudi. Khudi leads to purpose, it leads to value, it leads to spirituality, knowing yourself as a spiritual being rather than a physical being, and then service and the real relationship. So learn faster, create more, organize your life, express your ideas, build your projects, do everything through AI, take its help. But the why must come from you, and that is the khudi. Jazakumullah khair.
Jazakallah, Dr. Amina. Thank you, all the presenters. Alhamdulillah, I was reading as you were speaking the chat and some questions came up. So we will go right into them. I'm very happy to go over a couple of them and then maybe one of you can answer. The first one is share your organization Hudi is doing. So I think this is for Sister Sarbat. I believe if you can say a little bit more maybe about your organization, the work that you're doing, the city it is in, maybe if other people in Pakistan or abroad want to get involved with doing housing for special needs individuals and youth, that will be great, inshallah, and then we can move on to the next question.
I'll answer this briefly. Actually, Khudi is a preventive mental health project, and we are working on parenting upgrade program and teacher upskill program, so that we give psychoeducation to parents and teachers so that they can become the first mental and emotional first aid for their children as well. Just like we are the physical, mental, emotional, physical first aid for our children, we should also know about their mental, emotional issues and give them the first aid. So that is what we are doing right now.
First aid, yeah, mashallah. That's right. Is there a website, sir, that maybe people can look at?
Yes, there is a website. We are pretty active on Facebook. You can look up Hudi, Discover Your True Potential.
Discover your true potential. Okay. Jazakallah khair. Next question here is, people have praised a lot of good insights by all presenters. Someone said, according to Iqbal's philosophy, how can humans remain leaders while using AI? Anyone would be willing to maybe address this question, inshallah? Or
Yes, sir, Dr. Sister Sarah, if you allow me.
please.
So I hope I'm audible. I'm just slightly in a different location. So perhaps one of the things that I think that we have really lagged in this day and age of digital connection is connecting with ourselves. So if I were to answer this using Iqbal's couplet, Iqbal says, "अपने मन में डूब कर पा जा सुराग जिंदगी." So if you really want to decode life, you want to find the secret of life, it's inside you. So I would invite people to connect more with themselves, and there can be little practices. Somebody mentioned solitude while I was speaking. Solitude is your self-chosen time of disconnection with the world where you essentially connect with yourself and contemplate. You know, when you do these practices, when you connect with Allah, when you connect with yourself, you start getting the answer from divine directly. You start getting the answer from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly. But we are so connected to social media and to in the digital world, we don't think about connecting with ourselves. So perhaps 10 minutes of solitude, 10 minutes of disconnecting with all the social media and just sitting and asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, you know, what's the answer to all the struggles in life? I think this is the only way to stay leaders. It is the only way to dominate the AI driven world. Connection with your own self.
Thank you, Bella. Jazakallah khair. I hope it has addressed the question for the questioner. But it is true. I think when I was thinking about what you just said, when we were younger, I'm assuming most of the people here grew up in 70s, 80s, even early 90s. Back in Pakistan, movies such as Night Riders or cartoons such as Jettisons were shown. And I remember Talking Cars, Knight Rider, Airwolf, these kind of movies used to be, even just Star Wars, right? All of these American Hollywood or sci-fi kind of production. And 20, 30, 40 years later, we are seeing all that. Cars with GPSs, talking cars, self-riding cars, and of course the technology with drones, and then all of it is using AI in our laptops, tablets, apps, phones, and on the internet. So it is humanly impossible for someone today to try to totally live without technology, but at the same time, we need to encourage our children and ourselves as parents, as teachers, to be able to navigate technology with wisdom that is only found within human connection. And also the sira of, the fitra rather of insan. Allah Ta'ala says in Quran in Surah Rum, La tabdila li khalqillah, that there should be no change in Allah's creation. And it's pretty clear, and similar other ayats are with similar meaning are also there, because Allah's takhliq is, that's why Allah Ta'ala called us at Asan al Taqweem, that I have created you the best of the best in all my creation. So, how can we reconcile that with Iqbal's poetry when we are up challenged by AI based, again, consumeristic market, and also just this very invasive, suggestive. I would even go this further to say that privacy violating, like all of these Siri and other apps are what if they are going on in your homes and you're asking a lot of questions to them, that this is being recorded as data that is becoming this big, perpetually fed algorithm, which is metadata. And so now, not only are you giving up your autonomy in terms of thinking, but also the access to your very personal thoughts and feelings. And where does it leave us as humans, as Muslims, as people who believe in Allah, and so on and so forth? So, like everybody said, I personally am also not against using AI. I think with in goodwill, if people have created algorithms for educational summarizing of information that is based on primary resources, it's a good resource to use as a tool. But encouraging our children or not caring about the thought and possibility which is happening, that they are going to get totally dependent on it emotionally, psychologically, intellectually, spiritually, that is very dangerous. So the next question here, somebody said that they absolutely love the discussion. Other people are saying that too. Um, Someone said that, Saleh, you said that this person will lag behind in self-development. That's true. Inner strength is also weakened. Then I had said that we will address the question soon. So one of the next questions that I think more answers came, let me just go, let me see here. Oh, there's a long discussion here also by someone. And then I'll come back to the to the to to the person who has raised her hand, but or his hand. So here, someone is saying, Brother Sajid, actually, as a teacher, I have to teach the use of AI to students, but how can I draw a line between dependency on AI and just use AI as a helping tool among the students, with the students? Anybody would like to answer this question, inshallah?
I would request the guest speakers, if Dr. Sabiha or
जी
Sarwar.
thank you. AI, we can use AI to enhance our अंडरस्टैंडिंग और एंड वी ये कोई खुद खतरा नहीं है हमारे लिए, बल्कि इसको हम अपने काबू में रखें तो ज़्यादा बेहतर है, बजाय इसके कि ये हम पर काबू पा ले, ये हमारे दिलो दिमाग पर और हमारी सलाहियतों के ऊपर कब्जा कर ले और हमें सोचने समझने की सलाहियतों से महरूम कर दे। ये ख़तरनाक सूरत हाल होगी। दरअसल ये हमारी मददगार हो सकती है, हमें इसको अपनी जब अगर ज़रूरत पड़े तो हम इसको अपने मददगार के तौर पे यूज़ कर सकते हैं, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है कि अपनी तमाम भाग-दौड़ ज़िंदगी किसके हाथ में दे दें, उससे बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगा। उससे इंसान की अपनी सलाहियतें ख़त्म होंगी और उसकी अपने सोचने समझने की सलाहियतों को ज़ंग लग जाएगा और उसकी जो खुदी है वो बढ़ने में और आगे जाने में नाकाम रहेगी और चैलेंजेस को भी कबूल करना मुश्किल हो जाएगा। इसलिए ये हमारी मददगार हो सकती है, इसको अपने साथ लेके चलें, इसको अपना दुश्मन ना समझें और ना इसको अपना मालिक समझें, ना इसको अपना आका समझें, बल्कि अपना एक साथी समझें।
Jazakallah khair, Dr. Sabia. Three more questions, and inshallah, please bear with us. Then I'll come to the people. We might have to go a few minutes over. We have already gone. But if people want to stay and have that question answered, if it is okay with the invited guest speakers and also Dr. Amina, then I'll continue. This is a longer sort of narrative that a brother has written, but basically he's saying the question about psychological paradigms. And moral understanding of how, let me see towards the end. Okay. So basically, he's saying that the modern systems that constantly generate temporary sources of validation and dopamine, especially when they are encouraged to root their identity in Khudi and Islamic principles, yet simultaneously face contradictions between secular frameworks such as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights or the DSM manual, which we use as therapists and psychologists to diagnose people with mental health, emotional, or personality disorders. How can we reconcile that with Islam? This is a different question, brother, but in this situation for AI, should we seek to replace the system entirely or remain within it while developing a sharper and more critical understanding of it? And how do we practically resolve this paradox? So I think you're combining two or three different things. The DSM manual necessarily, is not what, let's say, Chat GPT is going to diagnose people with when we are talking about chatbots that are giving semi-therapy kind of reply to people who are talking to them or typing in questions related to their emotional states or psychological states. That is what I can share as a mental health therapist. But if somebody else would like to tackle the other part of the question, which is like the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and secular understanding of rights and responsibilities versus Islamic principles and the concept of khudi, how that paradox can be resolved for our youth, so that their source of information, as I understand from your explanation and this question, it remains pure. It remains not dependent on AI. Dr. Amina, would you like to address this?
I think that this is a very, very important question. And as I was contemplating on Quran as well, so basically all these human rights are about the secularization of humanity. Because as humans, we have already been given the rights from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which are called hukuk al-ibad. That means that we have to make our children think from the perspective that we are the slaves of Allah and we have the rights and responsibilities given by the divine Allah, which cannot be altered. Now, in the secular framework, all these SDGs and human rights they talk, these we can see that what has happened in Iran and Palestine and all, man-made human rights can be crushed, can be identified as particular for a particular nation, and the others are not as human as the others. So then there are lesser humans and there are greater humans. So this split of humanity by the secular human right movements, I think it's so visible now that we have to bring all that aspects and make our children think and reflect and analyze and go through all these goals and then see that if these are the human rights we use as a benchmark, and even in Pakistan and all the institutions are talking about it so proudly, and then there are movements, women's right and children's right and this right and that right. But where are these rights when we talk about Palestine, when we talk about Iran, when we talk about Pakistan, when we talk about Cambodia, we could talk about Vietnam, we talk about all these places which are colonized and wars and then bloodshed. So I think we need to have these conversations with the new generation. Otherwise, if the premise from which they are thinking as humans as evolved from animals, the entire psychology speaks that the rat race, the cutthroat competition. So, we have to bring them out of that framework and make them think that we are human beings, we are spiritual beings, and we need a spiritual revolution which will place the human rights well, it should be God given rights to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation, irrespective of any religion, any race, any gender.
Thank you, Dr. Mina. I'd like to add in there, maybe people who are interested and want to stay up to date with AI related developments, there is something called transhumanism. And that basically is the idea that basically now we are past the new age, which was the information technology age. Then we had the Industrial Revolution. I wish there was a time or will be a time when we can see people understand and appreciate a spiritual aspect that is kind of the umbrella over everything, but that's not the case in secular world. So transhumanism basically is looking at people almost like half robotic. So you may have chips put into you, and so you are more able to gather information and use that information to navigate the earth. or just maybe have your own biomarkers read, vital signs read, things like that. Maybe in our lifetimes this will happen. Transportation will get affected. People are not driving, but they are going to be flying, things like that. So, it is affecting your movement. And this is all like calculation, as Bela had said earlier, but the accuracy of it could be erroneous, right? Algorithms could be containing errors. And then, if there is inbuilt racism or prejudice or oppression or coercion, then these are very dangerous ethical dilemmas that we have to deal with when it comes to even just simply getting information from AI. Artificial information, I call it, I don't call it intelligence. So, going forward, another question that we see here is actually there was one very nice recommendation that we should have a youth forum. Sister Iram, you had said that thank you so much. That I'd like to request to provide a platform for teenagers and engage them actively with Iqbal's philosophy. Alhamdulillah, Dr. Yeah, Amina already is doing Jugnu programs online and videos, and they are regularly offered by her live online. And I'm sure we can maybe plan, Dr. Amina, around a youth base, maybe between 13 and 18 or 25 years of age. If Dr. Farid, you would like to speak your question, you can open your mic. I don't see his comment here. Maybe he didn't write. Is he
Yeah,
still?
he has not
Please.
written.
Ji, Assalamu alaikum. Go ahead, please.
Assalamu alaikum ji. This is Dr. Mohammed Farid from Lahore, Pakistan. I'm a neurospinal and vascular surgeon. First of all, I would like to extend my really appreciative thanks to Dr. Sabiya Ikhlaq साहिबा जिन्होंने मुझे ये मौका दिया कि मैं आके एक बड़ा एक प्रेस्टिजियस फोरम पे कहीं अपनी आवाज़ उन लहरों के दोष कर सकूं जो कभी बाज़गश्त बन के शायद मुझे और मेरे बच्चों को और बाकी दुनिया को दोबारा सुनाई देगी. As far as Iqbal is concerned, Hazrat Allama Iqbal alayhi Rehma has a very famous sentence which Madam Sabia would definitely endorse, जो मेरे ही मुंह से एक निकला था मुख्तलिफ फोरम्स में कि इकबाल को पढ़ने की बजाय इकबाल को जीना शुरू करिए. अगर आप इकबाल जी नहीं सकते तो इकबाल पढ़िए मत, क्योंकि take Iqbal first as a human being and then take the humanity out of him and then turn that humanity into your khudi, something which you want to you cannot be someone else's khudi. You have to be original. Whatever people would say, whatever people would come, whatever times would change, whatever things would endeavor us, originality is never going to be masked in any way or the other. I've studied across continents. I've served across continents. Allah ka shukar hai, known in various fraternities. मगर जहाँ तक बात ये आती है कि इंटेलिजेंस से खुदादाद सलाहियत है, आप उसके साथ आर्टिफिशियल का तो लफ्ज लगा ही नहीं सकते. देयर कैन नेवर बी आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस. There always be a muavinat intelligence or a type of thing which is going to give you a bit of pat on the back or something which you're really indulge in. So what I would love to suggest is here कि आप बेहतर तो ये है कि मशीनों से अपने आप को तलाश ना करिए, अपने सजदों में अपने आप को तलाश करिए. मैं नॉर्मली प्रोग्राम्स वगैरह में कहता हूँ, लास्टली आई वाज स्पीकिंग ऑन अ जेन ज़ी फोरम, तो मैंने उनसे भी यही बात की कि आपका घर इज योर किंगडम, इट्स योर फोर्ट. हम अपने फोर्ट को कभी भी ताकतवर नहीं बनाते, हम लोगों के किलों के ऊपर बातचीत करते हैं. असल बात है आपका मदरसा आपका घर है, आपका सदका घर से शुरू होता है, आपकी दरवेशी घर से शुरू होती है, आपका एवरीथिंग स्टार्ट्स फॉर योर होम. लेट्स हैव अ लुक अराउंड कि आपके घर में क्या आपसे सारे खुश हैं. पहले तो हुकूक लिबाद वहां से सीखिए. दुनिया में क्या सीखना है आपने? इकबाल ने हुकूक लिबाद घर से सीखे थे और फिर वो बाहर गए. एंड वन ऑफ माई वेरी वेरी फेवरेट शेर जो मैं अपने पे भी लागू करता हूं कि खीरा न कर सका मुझे जलवाए दानिशे फरंग, है सुरमा मेरी आंख का खाके मदीना और नजफ. And probably the best what Iqbal has given us. Forget about the books, forget about everything what Iqbal has said and read and wrote. ایک شعر کو پکڑ لیتے ہیں آج اینڈ لیٹس میک دیٹ شعر آر موٹو. اور اس موٹو سے جڑے جو بھی دنیا کے ریلیجن ہیں، دو دوست ہیں آپ کے. آئی ایم ناٹ باؤنڈیڈ، آئی ایم اے سرجن، آئی ہیو ٹو آپریٹ آن ہندوز اینڈ واٹ ایور کاسٹ کریڈ کلر آئی ہیو ٹو کم اینڈ آئی ہیو ٹو بی دا بیسٹ گیون بیسٹ فار ہیم. ٹھیک ہے، کیونکہ میرے مذہب نے بھی یہ سکھایا ہے ہیومینٹی فرسٹ. ایک کی جان بچائی، پوری انسانیت کی جان بچا لی. اور وہ شعر ہے کہ محمد سے وفا تو نے تو ہم تیرے ہیں. یہاں اقبال کہہ سکتے تھے کہ میں تیرا ہوں، میں نہیں ہوتا. کیونکہ اللہ پاک فرماتا ہے کہ جب آپ اس لیول پہ ہوتے ہیں تو آنکھ بھی رب ہے، ہاتھ بھی رب ہے، قدم بھی رب ہیں، سوچ بھی رب ہے، اور دنیا داری کی ہر کام میں رب آپ کے ساتھ کھڑا ہو جاتا ہے. اینڈ دین پیپل گیٹ اٹریکٹڈ ٹو یو لائک اینی تھنگ. پھر یو ڈونٹ نیڈ ٹو فائٹ تھنگس. یہ جہاں چیز ہے کیا، لوح و قلم تیرے ہیں. اس سے زیادہ کوئی کیا کھل کے بیان کرے گا جو اس شعر میں اقبال نے سیکریسی آف انٹیلیجنس بھی دے دی، آپ کو یہ بھی دے دیا کہ آپ نے اس پیراڈائم کو چھونا کیسے ہے.
گزار ہوں ڈاکٹر فرید کی. اور یہاں میرے اور ایک اور استاد ڈاکٹر فرید بھی میرے استاد ہیں اقبال کو سکھانے میں، اور ڈاکٹر حسن شاہد صاحب جو ہیں وہ بھی موجود ہیں، وہ میرے استاد ہیں جنہوں نے مجھے سمجھایا، بتایا، جنہوں نے مجھے خاص طور سے آرٹیفیشل انٹیلیجنس کے حوالے سے بہت گائیڈ کیا. اور یہ لوگ آج آئے ہیں یہاں اس سیشن میں. یہ لوگ بہت قیمتی لوگ ہیں اور ہم ان سے فائدہ اٹھاتے رہیں گے
بالکل
انشاءاللہ.
انشاءاللہ. نہیں، مجھے اندازہ ہو رہا ہے، اور انشاءاللہ ان کے ساتھ ہم دونوں کے ساتھ ایک سیشن ضرور رکھیں گے، اور آپ سے میں رابطہ کروں گی. بہت بہت شکریہ آپ دونوں کا اور آپ سب لوگوں کا. اور سسٹر سائرہ، پلیز اف یو کین ڈو سم کلوزنگ.
انشاءاللہ.
جزاک اللہ.
لیکن آئی ایم ویری ہیپی کہ ہم لوگ سب یہاں اکٹھے ہوئے. اینڈ تھینک یو ڈاکٹر فرید اینڈ ایوری بڈی ایلس who had shared both admiration for Iqbal's poetry as well as the speakers who came. They all shared invaluable information about Iqbal's ideas as we can understand them, for understanding how AI is impacting human life in general, but also in the context of us as Muslims. Um, Jazakallah khair, everybody. Inshallah, maybe in the future we'll have similar events again with Dr. Amina and other speakers. I will end with this dua. Allah Ta'ala allow us to benefit from this gathering. And and my dua is also this, that as we continue, like Dr. Fareed said, that even if you take a couple of lines of Iqbal's poetry, maybe we can, like we say for Sira, embody them in our day-to-day living, inshallah. So again, thank everybody for attending. Jazakallah khair. And now we will conclude. Assalamu alaikum. Allah Hafiz.